Oh, things will change. I think the paradigm, I say it on my show all the time, the paradigm is about to change. Everything is unsustainable.
Yeah.
The media, the way it's being done right now, unsustainable.
Yes.
The debt, unsustainable. Politics, the way we collect votes, it's all unsustainable. Trust, the way it is now, unsustainable. I feel like we're on the verge of, I don't even know what it felt like at the edge of the Industrial Revolution, or the edge of the American Revolution, or the Civil War, or any of the times at the end of World War II, where you could feel it, and it's always been a good thing in America except for Civil War, where you could feel, wow. Things are going to change.
Yeah.
What do we change into?
And I think things are going to change too. And if you look back in history, you see that it is about every 200 years something drastically changes in a society, in a culture, in a governmental system. We're due for that change. Just on a historical perspective shows us that, yeah, something's coming.
Have you seen the case that I've made on Cloward and Piven, and that they are intentionally trying to spend us into oblivion?
Yes.
Do you believe it?
I do. I do believe that, because again, Glenn, we can't be so stupid as to see these common sense solutions. Hey, government, quit thinking that the solution to the healthcare problem today is for government to take it over and run a system better than the private sector system. We see something like that, we scratch our heads and say, well, what are we missing? It's a ridiculous notion that the White House has to take over healthcare and think that they can run it better. We cannot be missing something so blatantly. It has to be purposeful, what they are doing. Otherwise, I would say, Glenn, that there is no hope, that there are no solutions.
You see that the Fed made Exxon had their record profit a couple of years ago was $45 billion. The Fed just had record profit, over $50 billion. Nobody's having hearings on the Fed. Nobody is looking for a windfall profit tax on the Fed. Nobody seems to, we can't even open the Fed's books.
Yeah.
Where do you stand on the Fed?
It's so ironic there too, especially that you bring up this private sector company, Exxon, because in Alaska, we saw what was going on with Exxon, and we did have our own hearings on what was going on with this private sector company, and how could the state of Alaska adjust some things to make sure that there was a share of the resource. Yet you're right, nobody has even lifted a finger to go that route with the Fed. And it's a scary thing. It's one of those things that we're thankful for, Glenn, that you're bringing this to light. And I don't know anybody else who is, certainly nobody else who has a platform or the megaphone like you do.
And we have to take a break here. I just want to end with this question. Is universal health care constitutional?
I don't believe that it is constitutional. I believe it violates the 10th Amendment. I believe it usurps states' rights. I believe that it is, aside from the unconstitutional aspect of this, I think it is the most wrong-headed thing that Obama is trying to cram down our throat. And I cannot believe, I know that people are outraged about it, but I cannot believe that those on Capitol Hill are still not listening to the outrage of the people and still want to see this thing get crammed down our throat.
You have to ask yourself why. They're all throwing themselves on the altar of this. The bribes, the corruption, the coercion, the SEIU, break your kneecaps kind of stuff. Do you even, I said a year ago, it was a year ago Christmas, a year from now, you will not recognize your country. Put yourself back a year ago last Christmas, go into a coma, wake up. Do you recognize your country?
Already, this change is creating this unrecognizable system that we're a part of. But yeah, with the, especially with the health care, when incumbents are even willing to give up their power, their seat, when they're saying, hey, if it costs me my seat in Congress, it costs me my seat in Congress. I'm going to cram this thing through anyway. That's a scary, scary thing to consider.
It's not if they're doing it on principles. It is if they're doing it for bribes, money, power, position.
I want to know what their principles are then. I want to know why they think that this is principled at all.
Exactly right. Okay, back in just a second. Back with a full hour with Governor Sarah Palin. Painful yet? Because we've got stacks of documents.
Come on, bring it on. Let's go.
What is it like to be you, to walk in and you just never know? Do you feel like outside of the people, do you feel like there's anybody that you can trust?
Outside of the people and outside of my family, again, it's very, very difficult to find those whom I would trust with my children's life.
You were on, yeah, very difficult.
Yeah.
You were on the most admired list. You were number 2.
Or most curious list.
The most curious. Why was it most curious?
Well, it could have been. Are you sure it was admired? And
yeah, it was the most admired list.
Okay.
Who beat you? It was Hillary Clinton, which I find interesting. But she's been...
She always wins.
Yeah, she always wins.
Cool.
She's the anti-Susan Lucci of this list. You were number 2. When you saw it, what went through your mind, and what did the list tell you?
A list like that is like a poll, Glenn, and I can't put a whole lot of stock or faith or hope in a poll like that to show me what I need to do, where I need to go next. I can keep everything in pretty healthy perspective because of my kids keeping me grounded.
It's interesting because I was on the list. I was 4th on the list, and my reaction was I'm sandwiched between Nelson Mandela and the Pope. And I thought, this is the most ridiculous list I've ever seen, because one of these things just doesn't belong. But my thought on it was, it shows how desperate people are, or how few choices there are.
That's got to be what it is.
For people to see other people who say, I think they believe it, and I think whether I agree or disagree with them, they'll risk everything to be able to stand and tell the truth. You see any truth to that?
I see truth to that in our society, in our culture, that there are so many Americans who believe that there aren't a whole lot of individuals that they can trust.
So now let me go back to putting everything up on the line and the paradigm changing. Harry Reid's been in trouble this week saying, you know, just a stupid comment.
Yeah.
Trent Lott, you know, he was drummed out of the party. What are your thoughts on the Harry Reid thing first?
I don't believe that he's a racist, but I believe that his comments, you can't defend them.
Right.
I want to see him go anyway, you know,
Yeah, but why take him out this way? Let the people decide.
Right, and the people are going to decide, and I think he is going to go, and it's time.
I think, I mean, the double standard is so clear, and all of the games that are played. And
so hypocritical, it just makes my stomach sick.
I don't even want to,
yes,
we don't need to even go there because everybody knows double standard. However, with that being said, I think the paradigm is about to change. These people have overplayed their hands. You have a handicapped child. I have a handicapped child. I'm not going to call anybody handy-capable. I think it's insulting to everybody. First of all, as a mom, has that made you, did I just anger you?
No, for some reason I wasn't offended.
Okay,
no.
Good. This PC thing, I think a lot of people played this PC game for a long time because A, we're good people. Nobody wants to hurt anybody's feelings generally. And B, Americans just want to get along. It's just like, it's not worth it, just get along. I think that's changing. I think people at home, you can call them racist, you can call them bigots, you can call them hate mongers, you can say they're starving children, you can say anything. People are starting to say, I know the truth. I don't care what you say. Agree or disagree?